hope this game is everything everyone has been hoping for years, ever since Will made his first Nigel thumbnail. We've been waiting for this moment, haven't we?
It's hard to talk about competitive Scrabble to the average layperson, but you can, with 100% certainty, say, in Scrabble, we have a GOAT. There's just one player who's better than everybody else. I don't know that I've ever witnessed him make a mistake, ever, in like hundreds of games now that we've got archived and annotated. What a gift, truly, it is to have Nigel Richards in the sport, and what a gift it is to have Nigel playing in English again after finishing, the World Championships in French and Spanish and winning them both. Having him back on North American soil, it is so, so exciting. And the suspense is over. Here we go. Nigel!
Oh my God, you're such a fanboy. It's amazing. Oh man, we live for this. Nigel going first against Will, sporting his Mattel Scrabble shirt. Will in his classic red hoodie. You've probably seen that on his videos before. Nigel first to act. So Will shake the bag and we'll get started. And I will be as critical as possible of both of these players' plays, but it's going to probably be hard to fault them. We'll see. Hope we get some crazy slugfest or some really cool tactical battle. Something of beauty. KAOPDF. Okay, is Panko a word yet?
It is.
Very nice. So I like here. There's no podunk. Something like cough. Yeah, I think you just play Panko.
Yeah, it's either Panko or CAF, K-A-F, but Panko feels much stronger for Nigel. What we saw from Nigel during the World Cup is he plays very, 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 very well, basically doesn't blunder, but we also saw him knock out a lot of not so routine turns with a remarkable amount of speed. So Nigel taking already 45 seconds on a turn that seems pretty straightforward of Panko. A little bit unusual for him, but here he goes in classic Nigel form. He's going to set up his best play, pause for just a little bit, examine the board, and then play Panko for 28.
And of course, vertically.
Of course.
We have to turn the board. So Panko comes down. That has to be right.
Oh, I played it upside down. Nigel with a blunder. We've seen it.
Sorry, kidding. This happens. This happens all the time. All right. Yeah. So actually, the producers had the board the right side up, but they switched it because they were like, "Oh no, I trust Nigel. Nigel's playing the right way." Oh, that's awesome. I'm following this game on the Macondo bot. So Panko best by a few points, and Will with CADGPTU, not the best rack, but he's going to be able to do something with this, I think.
Oh man, yeah, this is a really rough turn. There are no strong options here at all. Brief simulation suggesting that the best Will can do is just pung, P-U-N-G, through the N and Panko for 13. That's brutal, but the C-G-P-U combination is so unwieldy, and you've just got to do something to shed some of those tiles. What do you think, Josh? Pung for 13, or would you be looking to go a little bit longer here?
Yeah, I saw Kaput on Will's rack, CAPUT, and that's also a reasonable play through the A of Panko. We see Nigel's drawn the blank. He's lined up hand fried already. For those wondering, Nigel did, I think, hit his clock before he had to switch his play from upside down to right side up. But just so you guys know, it's not an illegal move to play upside down. The board is symmetrical. And if after 2 moves, neither player has noticed that the plays are upside down, that is the orientation that the game follows. Luckily, it was noticed here. And whenever it is noticed, each player can just stop the clock and flip the play over into the right order. It would have been funny if Will stopped the clock and put Nigel's play horizontal instead.
That would have been hilarious.
So, my analysis is saying between Pung and Kaput, it is extremely close. I think Pung is maybe the more human decision, just balances a little bit better. It doesn't keep the G, but it won't block pan fried.
Pung, kaput, maybe Punkta, Puncta. That's 18 points, but holds DG, which never makes you happy. Will's gotta feel bad about playing Pung for just 13 on the first turn, but it's just a terrible rack. That's all you can do.
Yeah, and he's definitely taking his time here. He's taken 2.5 minutes on this. He's got to trust his instinct that there really isn't anything great here. The other option might be playing Cup, just next to the P and the A. That scores well as well. It keeps the AD-GT combination, which isn't great, but isn't terrible. The problem with Cup is you don't have an S and you're setting up the scup hook. Don't really want that in your life. So we're going to see something like Kaput or Pung. Will's already taken 3 minutes, though, and he's playing against a somewhat fast player. It's very rare to see Nigel under 8 minutes at the end of the game. And it doesn't feel like he's going to take so long on this next decision after Pung. So this play comes down. Both players are 1 for 1 in their decisions. And up to Nigel to find his best bingo.
Yeah, Nigel's actually got 2 80 pointers available, pan fried as he's got set up, and one other bingo from the P, profaned, each 80. Nigel likely going to opt for pan fried as it's stronger for stacking plays on top. Profaned could get stacked by 5 or 6 letter words for big scores. So pan fried, top option. Nigel identified that, I think, within 10 seconds of drawing this rack. And Nigel going to take a little bit of time before he pulls the trigger on this one.
Yeah, the play of Pung slightly changing the position. Nigel therefore looking to see if something of importance has changed. Does he want to play profane now? The only difference really is that Nigel will be putting an N here versus an O, which doesn't matter anymore because Pung just eliminates that as a playthrough tile. So he's looking at playing Snarfed instead, making Pungs. And that's a point sacrifice, but it scores 75 and does not open the board nearly as much. So it's very interesting the fact that he's throwing that E out in space after a play like Pung. It feels like Will's range of tiles that he might have after Pung are very heavy on constants. Indeed, he had ACDT, which was very likely to lead to a double-double through that E. So I actually don't think this is the correct option for Nigel Richards here, just putting that E in the worst possible position in the double-double lane.
And yet, had he played pan fried, he would give Will a bingo back in Eradicate, and instead, he's given Will nothing back. So, Josh, maybe a critique of Nigel's play, but Nigel's play is certainly going to work out for him with this rack for Will. No playable bingos now for Will. He's got a much tougher turn after Nigel with the surprise pivot over to Snarfed.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, could be some spidey sense. Obviously, the main aspect of Snarfed that is better than the 80 pointers is how little it opens in comparison. But the quality of what it opens is what is giving me a little bit of pause here. But that's me. I'm trying to find, the fault in the stars, as they put it. And Snarfed did indeed do what Nigel wanted it to do. I just feel like after the play of Pung, it was just so likely Will was going to get a big double-double. But now he has to play a Sedia, which I think he's identified that fits from the A of Snarfed and scores a nice 30 points, opens the board a little bit further. That's what he does.
Top option here for Will, and he is able to pick up some time on this turn. That's a turn I think other players would struggle a bit longer on to consider all options. So Will picking up some key time on that play. All right, no mistakes so far, except potentially, depending on your perspective, Maybe Nigel's decision of snarfed over pan-fried, 5-point sacrifice, but stops Will from bingoing back. CEEFIIO, the rack now for Nigel. I wonder if he's going to continue with his defensive approach here. Edifice plays through either of the Ds on the board for 30 or 28 points, but they both open quite a bit up. This could be deific from the D instead. Nope, here's Edifice. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I like that Edifice sort of eliminates a bit of space, playing through those letters that Will just opened up. But Deific doesn't block as much, but also leads to easier plays for Will coming down from the C that would have been placed right over here. So I think this is a good decision by Nigel. I'm not going to critique it. Yeah, I like it.
When any other player is over the board, my job is to try to figure out if they've made the right play or not, and then explain why. When Nigel's over the board, my job is to try to explain why Nigel's play is the best play. And yeah, all right, that's what you're supposed to do there. Forget the S hook, score the points, don't keep the extra bell. Yep.
Indeed. So back to Will now. 19 minutes to Nigel's 21 with AIIMSTY. The best he can score here is pretty nice. He can score 46 points with the word maced. Hooking onto Edifice, the problem with that, it leaves 2 eyes. We hate leaving 2 eyes, don't we? So it also opens big triple. So I don't know if I'd do that.
MAIST is 40 points, same spot, keeps IY, which is still pretty brutal, but not as brutal as II. I think I'd prefer that. But Amities plays as a double-double for 36, holds just the Y. A Simulation likes none of those options, though, which is interesting. I wonder how many humans make this play. Simulation wants to 16 here.
Ivy for 16, right?
Icy.
Icy, excuse me, yes. So Icy, using the C in Edifice. Excuse me. Yeah, that is a very interesting play. What's funny about that play is that it kind of makes sense. You're keeping AIMST. This is the best leave you could have. So Icy here. You're having the ability to play Mace next turn. You're also maximizing your chance at a double-double next turn. But you're also, I don't know, there's just something about it. You're down 90 points. Don't you want to score a little bit more than that?
Yeah, I'm inclined to say so, but apparently Will averages 63 points per turn after Icy, compared to about 36 after MAIST and just 29 after MAYST. So I think it's not just that you bingo often after the Icy play, but it's that you bingo often with massive double doubles that score 90 to 100. And this is one situation, though, where a simulation he'll be pretty sad. But no, A, B, S, H, and an N. All right. Nice pull from Will. This does give Nigel some big points, though. EEIORVY means he threatens both Ivory and Veery at the bottom of this board. Ivory could get crushed by X plays, but outside of that, looks to be the top option. What do you think, Josh? Ivory or Veery here?
I like Ivory. Yeah, I like Ivory here. Sorry about that little glitch there, guys, but we should be back. I think you play Ivory. It is kind of scary to put that eye there, but the leave looks much better. And when you're ahead, leaving scoring spots open is a good idea.
All right, Ivory is the play from Nigel. Yeah, the E is just so nice to keep here. Ooh, but rough pull AOOU into the EE. This will be interesting. Apparently, Nigel can draw poorly sometimes. Will has 51 now. Banish at 14A scores very, 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 very well for him. It does blow up a kind of stable leave, but you got to do it, right, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, you could play Sahib in the same spot and create maybe an S hook. Sorry, I'm trying to put trying to use the illustration. Yeah, you could create an S lane with Sahib, but it's likely to get blocked, and you're scoring so much less. So I think you have to play Banish here and hope for a good draw. Again, that E is still open from Snarfed. One of the other reasons that I don't like putting E's in double lanes is that your opponent can play around them. They might not just hit them immediately, but when you're down, you want to leave that volatility open. So that's still open. If Will plays Banish, he's creating another situation that Nigel might want to address in the form of that triple. So he's leaving the board alive somewhat, and definitely has some chances to come back, given that Nigel's next rack is absolutely horrendous.
Banish is going to seed EAU beneath the BAN in Banish for 25. So a small bailout for Nigel out of an otherwise very rough turn, but he's not going to be in great shape even after that. EOOT is not a great leave. Too many vowels, the double O's, it's kind of rough.
Yeah, EAU probably something I would play relatively quickly. Nigel was ready to play Deuce, DOUCE through the D and the C. But now that triple is open, Nigel can score a few more points despite leaving two O's. I think he's going to go for that.
Yeah, I think the next best option is OE in the same spot, holding AEOTU, and that is just too many vowels. DOUCE through the disconnected DC. It's probably not worth it. Yeah. Oh, the play from Nigel. That seems right.
Your dogs think it's a good play, I think.
They love playing three vowels and getting 25 for it, and they're stoked about that.
Yeah, OE and EAU close in on my engine simulation here, but I think this is definitely the right play. Right, back to Will. AEILORU. So just a little bit heavy on those vowels, and I don't think he's going to have anything fantastic here. But he can play actually the same word that Nigel is considering playing, of deuce. And you can put the R on it as well for deucer. That is an adjective. Those are kind of weird plays to make. Again, Will is still behind around a bingo score, so he does want to leave this E open. Deuce kind of does that. You need an S or a D to continue to make valid words on that double lane. Not really sure. Very tough position. You could play off OU with FOU, maybe.
Yeah, Will's got to
Deuce.
choose his approach here. FOU holds AEILR with a floating D. The S in Banish, unlikely to get obstructed. Two different P's out in space. FOU leads to a bingo a lot, but I would be looking to score a little bit more if I was Will. Deuce or Deucer feel like strong options here.
Yeah, and it's interesting comment in the chat, isn't EAU dangerous because of the X hook as Will plays deuce? So the idea that you could put an X here and score is a good one, but there aren't that many words that do that. So I wouldn't be so concerned with that. So deuce comes down, keeping AILR as balanced as he can get. And Will has drawn into AEIILRT, which looks pretty good at first glance. Listerial Lariast, but I don't think he's hit anything.
No, Reptilia through either P is there,
Oh,
so he's good.
oh,
Will likely to bingo next turn, and Nigel with, oh man, I love watching players with racks like these, but I am so stoked to see Nigel specifically try to fight through one. EILNOOT. How fishy do I get? How long do I play? Do I open? Do I close? Ooh, ooh. Wonder what Nigel's gonna do as Will's threatening a bingo next turn.
I feel like I want to play instinctively a long play from the P. It's looking like he's putting down pot line. What this does is it blocks the best eights lane from that PP is a really good letter to start words. And it begins to sort of try and exhaust the space on this board. And Nigel doesn't really have any great letters. So I like this idea, yeah, instinctively.
One play is winning a sim over every other option by over 3 points, and it is not what Nigel played here. The play is Oolite, OOLITE, through the I in Acedia for 21, holding IN, but that seeds that triple word back. That seems a little crazy. I don't know. Potline does not sim very well compared to other options, but that's what we saw from Nigel, and Will's bingo is coming down quickly.
All right. So, did Nigel make a mistake? It's just so funny to talk about it. I think the idea behind potline is pretty simple. You're really just trying to exhaust the space and continue to score your way to victory and try and block next turn, I think. But Reptilia is going to come down, and that's going to stop Nigel's plans in their stead. He's drawn into Gothite, and it was just blocked through that E in Snarfed. So that was a very, very timely pull for Will Anderson.
Wow, yeah, Gothite with the extra E, GOETHITE would have been Nigel's bingo. That gets blocked so seldom. He had Gothite to the S in Banished or to the E in Snarfed, and both got blocked. Insane. Perhaps even tilt inducing, but Nigel will not tilt here.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen both players block each other in interesting ways. We saw Snarfed inhibiting Will from playing Eradicate. Now we see Reptilia blocking both Gothites and Goethite. Probably should pronounce that right.
Oh my goodness. DLLJTWW is Will's post bingo draw. He's either playing WAWL through the A and Reptilia or exchanging. That's about it for Will. Goodness. Exchange here, Josh?
Ugh. Oh my god. Probably. There's a lot of good letters left. You want that blank. What's interesting is that E is still available. Like we could see a possible 7-letter word disconnected as a double-double, and that's probably the most dangerous spot on the board. So I think, I don't know, maybe you play jaw. I think you might just play jaw and play your, like if you play jaw now, Matt, then you keep the other W, maybe you play it next move with like 2 or something. You're scoring 50 points in 2 moves and you're getting somewhere. But man, is it so difficult to swallow this sort of decision when you're trailing and when there are blanks out, when there are really good tiles out that you don't have. I'm very curious to see what Will decides.
Yeah, man, this is just absolutely brutal for him. This is a turn where he's going to spend some time. I know that much. This is huge. This is likely the game on this turn as well if you don't navigate yourself out of this correctly.
Yeah, it's funny. The top play suggested by the static evaluator is to play jet. So Jet and TO, keeping both W's and both L's because there are words with those letters, I guess, like Willy Willow. I don't know. That's kind of crazy. I would never do that.
To take
But I
my
guess you
line
have
from earlier,
wall.
I'd rather swallow a thumbtack than play jet. No way.
What if you play wall now? Yeah, that makes sense actually. Yeah, why didn't we consider that? Wall for 20, keeping only 4 consonants together. That J can potentially improve up here. I think I like it. I think this is the right play.
Yeah. I called it out as one of the options at the beginning, and then started looking at J plays. But yeah, this is fine. This is good. And then Nigel is going to play VIES super duper fast, 40 points. Just put that scoring pressure on. Without bingo lines left on this board, this is close to game over. Will's got an uphill climb, and he's found 3 more consonants into JDLT. He's picked up BMS. This is getting rough for Will.
Wow, that's just not fair. He does have an S at least now, but yeah, that's not the rack he needed at all. DLT, JMBS. Why? Why is this happening? You can play Jamb through the A in Acedia? Is that what you do? Jam. Like, what is this? The board is like dying. You're down 60 points once we get that score updated. Ugh. Brutal. Do you could think about maybe trying to start setting up. How can you set up your S here? Is there some way to do that? Like maybe through this I. You can play Bima. I think again you don't exchange. I think you play through and just keep yourself within fighting distance. But Nigel is such a good defender. It's gonna be so hard for Will to make anything happen now.
I'm almost like inclined to keep the JB together so I can play Job and alongside Reptilia and set up the left side of this board a little bit, set up a line for potential 7-letter bingos again and score some points. You're down big, but with the Q, the X, the Z, and the blank all unseen, there's opportunity for you to just grind out 30 over and over. There's an opportunity for you to hit a big outplay and catch Nigel with 1 or 2 of those big letters on his rack. Like, there are things that can happen. There's a lot of dynamism in the bag, but I don't know. Will has spotted Bima. He's going to play it up here. 20 points. Yeah, that seems okay.
Yeah, I mentioned that. I mean, I think you can also play Butyl, was mentioned in the chat, through disconnected tiles. That's a very nice find. But this looks pretty good. Just biding his time, keeping the J, hopefully to score with. But Will is going to be able to use the X probably next turn at least. Play Nix and EAUX. Back to Nigel though, who's drawn second blank.
No, Nigel's going to take it away right now. As soon as you draw the X, boom,
yeah,
gone.
Sorry, bro. Yeah, that's it. That's really bad. All right, well, this is pretty over now, isn't it?
Yeah, wow.
Play Jinx. Can you play Jinx anywhere? You can play with JU. Is there some way to play? Oh, you can play Next. Wait, look at this. That's so cool. What if you play Next here and you set up Judy? Congratulations. You've scored like 45 points.
Awesome. Awesome. That's exactly what you need to do. Yeah. Sweet.
It's pretty cool.
At this point, I'm looking at the I in Reptilian, trying to figure out if there's like a 6-letter J or X play I can fish for that might score 70 or 80. I don't know that word exists, but that's about all you can do here.
Oh, it's 61 though in 2 turns. Next and Judy. Sorry. Yeah, okay. You can play Jinx through the iron pot lines. That's true. You can play something trying to set yourself up eventually. You can exchange. You're just gonna lose though. Realistically, Matt. Like how you're just getting squeezed so hard.
Yeah, man. This game just got away from Will so quickly. He's gonna play Dex. All right.
Well, yeah, is Nigel gonna fish for... Oh, there's no Y for Yankee. Yeah, he's drawn the Q to go with his U, and he's got the blank. What amazing analysis from me.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
I don't know. It's like, just play QAT, I guess. I don't know. Is he gonna try and set himself up? This could be a setup move. This could be something Nigel does that nobody's noticed. Is there something you can draw to BE? He's up 49 points. He doesn't really have anything to worry about. He's probably okay. If you're worried about something here, it's maybe like a bingo through the L making pankos, of which there are so few. So I don't know what you do, but you could play QUAI, but you leave yourself vowelless. I don't think he's that concerned.
You can fish the R with deucer and keep quart blank, and if Will does try to open something up, you can just punch him in the face, but that feels a little greedy. I think just play cot and win.
Yeah, I think so. If he plays cot and Will does bingo immediately, he's drawing 5 tiles. Right now there's 7 tiles in the bag, and it's so hard to imagine those 5 tiles threatening anything on this board. But he's thinking of QUAI, which just blocks pretty much everything under the sun. I actually don't even know if there's a single bingo that plays after that. Probably something through the A in Acedia. That'd be something to look at on the engine.
Let's find out. I'm going to run it now. After QUAI, there are precisely 0 playable bingos.
So we're thinking QUAI, and it's over. But
oh,
Nigel's playing there, going for Trank. Okay, but Will could have that.
Whatever.
What a weird play.
After this QUAI, let's see how many playable bingos there are. There are no playable bingos.
Well, okay. Nice job, Nigel. He looks at his score sheet. He looks at the board. He's like, oh, these are the 14 tiles unseen. All right, he can't have anything.
Yeah, you got nothing. I'm good. All right, I'll just take the points then.
So knowing that there's nothing playable after your play means that even if Will has the threat of playing Trank for 42, he might be setting himself up to bingo, but you can just block it. That's crazy. That's crazy talk.
Panko doesn't take a back S, so I don't think there's to be blocked. Thank you to chat for keeping us accountable. Jared Capel once again saving the day. We got to get him in the booth instead of me, honestly. But all right, no Pankos, no threats. Just do whatever you want. Set yourself up for Trank, I guess. Nigel gonna Nigel. The big intrigue now, as this one's all but done, is can Will get Nigel to say anything meaningful and give us a sound bite on the stream? That's my new thing that I'm rooting for.
Look at Will's expression. He's just like, yeah, I'm getting squeezed. How can I turn this into content? He's probably not thinking about that. Will actually takes this tournament very, very seriously. But yeah, he's down to under 4.5 minutes. There's really nothing to do. There's 4 tiles in the bag. You play Jot for 26. I think like that's all you do. I wonder if he will know that Panko doesn't take an S. I imagine so. When it's a word, Will probably knows if it's valid or not. But that's very surprising that it doesn't take an S, especially in the North American lexicon with all of its plurals.
All right, play does begin at 9 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. I am all but certain we're going to get at least one more Nigel Richards appearance. Just 4-3 his start to this tournament, but nobody would be surprised if Nigel goes 6-1 or 7-0 tomorrow and ends up atop the standings at the end of day 2. Mac Miller, currently 6-0 is my understanding. Mac Miller could be the only undefeated through 7 games. Let's see if we have a score update over there as Will tries to grind out the end of this one. Max
So this is
still
a
pending his game against Jackson.
really cool option in chat of not for 5. Obviously, you play that and Nigel plays traders, and you're very sad. But it's a very interesting idea to go for some bingos with the J, but Nigel will obviously block. But it could be the best play. It could be. It also sets up JO for 34. Sorry, I'm still analyzing this, Matt. It's an interesting game. I don't really know. Like for Will, Deuce was a slight mistake. Maced was, I think, the big one there. It's very hard to find a good move there. Icy is super counterintuitive. Amity's was probably better. Maced was just a little bit too reckless. And
I want to see someone do a deep dive on the pot line turn.
yeah, it was very interesting. I think the idea is Nigel is now threatening after potline to just block the rest of the board. Like the only things happening after potline were on this side, and he was willing to address that on the next turn. But I feel like it might have been a little bit transparent. Like Will can make something happen, can continue to keep the board open. I think it was a good play. It might not have been the best one though.
Going digging for the unseen blank for the S's makes sense for sure. But if you play pot line, keep an O, draw an unwieldy rack, and get doubled through the E and snarfed, that's like the only thing we can even like kind of tilt our heads at. And I'm usually the guy who's like, play as many tiles as you can out of racks like that. So pot line's the kind of play I would typically root for. I'm not saying it's wrong. Again, my job when Nigel plays is just to tell you why what Nigel has done is right. But that's a play where engines were pretty sound in favor of Oolite, and Nigel opted to do something that confused all of us just a little bit. Someone get in there and look it up. We need more content. We need more analysis on the internet.
So Jot comes down, Will saving himself some spread by not going for it with not for 5. Nigel has ADERRT blank. There are 2 tiles in the bag. Will Nigel make a play attempting to go for a bingo here? Is there something like Astrolabe that he can go for to the BE if he plays a D and an R somewhere, but then Will just block, right? But that is an interesting idea. It's hard to block too, so.
I would just plunk the R. I'd play Deucer and just wait.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm just going to take time here because it's a very interesting position. He doesn't care that he's won this game. He knows he's won this game. He wants to make the best play. I think, yeah, it's worth considering something. The thing is, like, TR, what if he plays TR? Tyro? Is there something he can draw in 2 spots? Can he draw something over here as well as Astrolabe or something of the like? If not, is there some way that Nigel can open the board with a play of his, not give Will anything in return, and go for something? So he's going to take a while here. This is one of the turns that Nigel cannot like possibly figure out very quickly. So we're going to see him burn some time, I think. Maybe he's thinking of playing Rota. That probably threatens some things here. But where would he play off DR? Not DR. He wants to, yeah, DR for Astrolabe. Because there's 2 ways to draw SO. And there's 2 ways to draw LO. And there's 1 way to draw LS. So that's many, many draws he can get. And it's going to be really hard for Will to block. My pick is playing off DR here for 4.
I don't think that's going to happen because Nigel will reasonably figure out if I do draw LO or SO, then Will also has an O and he can just play like Globe or Obe and block me, and it's not going to actually happen.
Yeah, you have to think like a few turns in advance if Will is able to. Well, Will is going to be able to block Astrolabe, but will he be able to go out the next turn if we draw it? So he's gonna have a possible rack of like ENOS or something. No, EN. Yeah, if we draw Astrolabe, Will either has EGNORST, EGNOORT, or EGNORS. This is so hard. There, you'd look at those racks basically if you're Nigel, and you'd see if Will blocks Astrolabe, can he go out in 2? And is he giving me something else by blocking it? So it might be worth doing, depending on whether it's basically just calculable in the end, like what happens in these end games. So he's going to be calculating Will's blocks and what Will's next plays are and what his next plays are, and iterating through that. But I don't know. Intuitively, it feels not worth it mathematically, but potentially worth it practically because Will might not see it. Will's definitely going to see it, I think, if he draws into it, which he won't because OE is in the bag. But it's an interesting thought. Nigel's just going to make Will wait.
Yeah, this is the turn when Nigel's 100% to win. This is the turn that takes 4 or 5 minutes off of his clock. And Nigel does everything right, regardless of the game state. We saw him play the greatest end game in Scrabble history, perhaps. A game where he was already up by 100 and just maximized it, squeezed every single point out. He's going to do this right, which is the most incredible part of it all. He's going to play Darter. I think this does end up just milking the most spread out of this game. He's almost a lock to go out next turn in one more move.
Yeah, he might be completely, like, for sure going out no matter what he draws. Maybe not, though. With this draw, can Will just play something like blocking that L of Reptilian? Does Nigel have an outplay after that? Very interesting. AE.
He's got Aerobe to the BE.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, so he's worked through this. He's basically seen ahead to see that he is threatening multiple outplays, I think, with pretty much every single draw, maybe every single draw, and Will's going to be helpless to block all of them. So I think that does work out better than trying to go for the bingo. So yeah, very nicely done.
Free.
I mean, what, like, why are we saying very nicely done? I don't know, but it's just very impressive. Like, this is how you play Scrabble at the top level.
Oh man, yeah, just a treat to watch. So Toga is going to be what we get from Will here. And it's not his best in game, but he has 7 seconds left. He's just got to do something. And Nigel, 7 and out, likely what we're going to see from him.
Yeah. All right. Well, it was a really interesting game.
Oh no, Nigel is actually not supposed to go out now. It's better if he doesn't. So we'll see if Nigel finds the slow play sequence here instead.
Yeah, he will. What is the sequence now?
You're going to block Will's Quays and OS by playing OS using your blank instead.
Okay.
Score
immediately.
9. Yep. Yeah, of course. Of course.
Oh my goodness me. Just great. Like, it's possible to find these things, okay? Like, just not possible to find these things this fast. If you're anyone else.
And you push Will over time. Just you know, this was already the best end game, but now you're picking up 10 additional points out of it. Goodness.
Wow. Well, poor Will. Poor Will. Just play like rolls or something. He's got 30 seconds to not lose 10 more points. Crazy.
All right. This is going to wind down our coverage of day 1 out of 5 from the Scrabble Players Championship held in Hanover, Maryland, just outside of Baltimore. Fear not, we have so much more Scrabble, at least 24 more games of Scrabble starting at 9 a.m. Eastern Time We'll continue coverage Monday, Tuesday, and have our best of 5 winner take all finals on Wednesday morning. If you're just now tuning in, we appreciate you joining us. We appreciate you watching Scrabble, and we really hope to see you again tomorrow with more. That's it for this one. Let's catch that overhead mic.
11 to 391. Might have had that wrong.
Okay, 401. Give me 290.
No, earlier.
198.
Yes.
216.
Yes.
250.
Yes.
290.
Yes. Oh, 40.
Yep.
Okay. Agreed. Yes. 401.
Yeah.
my-
29.
Yeah, now
10.
319. Yeah. Yep. Nicely done.
You want to all get your first win here?
I did. I was lucky.
Good job.
Yeah. Kind of flailing.
What now?
I was flailing.
Flailing.
Yeah.
He was unlucky. Is what he means.
He was unlucky.
No, I don't think so. I think I probably goofed somewhere along the way. Not sure where yet.
Well, I'm glad you're off the schneid, kid.
Okay, so 3. Oh, you wanna?
I don't
think
have
this-
the phone, so I have to.
I can do it for you.
I have to. No, you can't. I have to do mine myself.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
You can do yours as well.
Don't mind doing it on the sheet. It's fine.
Remember?
6. Yeah, 6. Very good.
All right, in patented Nigel form, I'm going to beat you and then ask you to submit the results because I don't have a phone. You love to see it. That's the final on this one. 407 for Nigel, 319 for Will after the 10-point time penalty. That's about all I've got for today. Josh, any parting messages for our viewers at home?
More Scrabble. Can't wait to cover this with you tomorrow as things get a little bit tighter and a little bit more important as the days go by. Matt, it's always a pleasure to commentate with you. More to come. We've seen some amazing marquee matchups today. I can't wait to see what's next. That concludes our coverage for the day. Thank you to NASPA Games for sponsoring the stream. And thank you to everybody for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and come back for more. 9 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow morning. We'll be here. We'll be ready. See y'all soon.
See y'all.